There has been a huge update that changed the entirety of how we approach dungeons, and because of that, all of the players must know how to play in each dungeon so as to not get kicked, and of course, so as to contribute to the party. First, we need to understand that this change has pushed all of the players into playing in random parties, because the new change has allowed us to earn salvation token by partying up with randoms in all of the dungeons. And this is a huge change because this will allow us to get 1 or 2 weeks of progress in just one dungeon if you get lucky. This is an entire video in itself, so for this video we'll just focus on all the mechanics of all the bosses. Cave of Destruction or Lequirus is the easiest dungeon by far. You just need to make sure that you avoid all the exploding ants and just basically kill everything on sight. When you are in the throne room or the Lequirus ant room, make sure that you kill the red paralyzing ant to get the red buff. And when the boss or Lequirus prompts with this prompt, or when you hear the voice prompt, just need to run to the nearest aisle. When you arrive at the nearest aisle, you will find an acid ant that will spawn randomly in one of the aisles. And then what you will do is you need to kill that acid ant in order for you to resummon Lequirus back for you to attack her. You just need to rinse and repeat this process, and some players can even tank the one-hit combo of Lequirus. That's it. Number 2 is Tyrant's Isle. Tyrant's Isle or Toublek, just need to get the key, the special key from one of these mobs right here. And when you get there, you just need to get to the gate. This box on the right side tells you what you need to kill in order for the dungeon to progress. And most of the time, you don't need to kill everything. So make sure you don't lure unnecessary mobs. When you arrive at this boss, you just need to jump when he says you get sweep. Once you're done jumping, you will get to this next boss where you need to lure him to the pillars, so he breaks all the pillars, so he will stop healing. And then after that, you will go to this challenge wherein you will be needing to fly. Make sure that when you fly, you don't press W so as you will not lose stamina and verticality. Make sure you press space immediately once you are able to. You will see that you can press space because of this little arrow right here. When you arrive at the boss room, most players already have this system set up where they will stand at flowers so as to quote-unquote dibs flowers, because you will be needing this in a mechanic from the boss. So there will be 3 things that you will need to understand for Toublek. First is he will pull you and turn you into rats. What you need to do is to listen to his voice, and he will say, try to dodge this, and make sure that you run towards your chosen flower as fast as you can. When Toublek finishes try to dodge this, you press 1. Make sure that there is enough space from Toublek and you and the flower. Once he starts chasing one player, you press 1 to return to your rat form, and then you get to the flower for you to be able to transform back into your character. This will ensure one hit, so make sure that you don't get to the flower first and transform, or get to the flower too late and get eaten by Toublek. Toublek is on the easier side because he is the squishiest boss, and you don't even need a tank to finish this dungeon. He also has this another tech wherein you need to dodge basically, and then another one where you need to go to the geyser. You will know this when you see that the geysers are bubbling up or with his voice prompts. Next is that's Abyss or Karnix. For Karnix, you need to stay on the left side and always stay on the left side so as to not lure any unnecessary mobs. The name of the game in Karnix is to not lure unnecessary mobs because arbiters in this dungeon are quite powerful. When the arbiters release their prompts, you need to stun them. It's one of those dungeons wherein you will really need a stunner or some sort of bind or petrify, but make sure you do it when the arbiter shouts and prompts their prompts. And then basically you just go and kill the arbiters and arrive at this place. You will need to stay at the right side, and then when you arrive at this room, you will need to stay at the center so as not to lure any mobs. This part, you need to go get 2 levers from each side, basically trying not to lure as many mobs as possible. Then when you arrive there, you need to kill this arbiter first and then kill the riot captain. When you kill the riot captain, it's time for the main boss, and the main boss is pretty easy. When the main boss or Karnix summons sight, you just run away from the sights, and after the sights are summoned, you will see this circle from one of the players, and then you will need to pull up there for you to dodge the damage from the boss. Then you just rinse and repeat and make sure you kill him. Now we move on to the harder dungeons. First is Butcher's Canyon. or Duke Magna. You will have two options in dealing with the mobs for Duke Magna. Number one is you bash them, you lure them to the bridge and then you bash them off with a tank or an SNS basically. But at this point in the game, you are all strong enough, or most of your players you will be in random parties with are strong enough to just lure and kill all the mobs. Make sure to pay attention on the right side mission prompt so as to focus on the necessary kills that you need to do to save time. This is where you kill shapeshifters. Shapeshifters will turn you into sheep, and in a certain amount of time the circle will proc and then automatically just auto kills you. To prevent this, someone from your party needs to kill the shapeshifter, and you need to go to the blue circle once the shapeshifter dies. When you arrive at this point, you need to stun both of these orcs for you to damage them. Make sure to stun them both at the same time. In the boss room, all you need to pay attention to is when the boss prompts his mechanic, you should not be touching the glowing red circle. You can do this by jumping over it and making sure that you are not touching it when you land. Once you are out of the circle, make sure to go immediately to the nearest shapeshifter and kill it, because one of your party members will become a sheep. In cases where someone becomes a sheep inside the circle, make sure to pass the sheep around for you to be able to take that person to the shapeshifter glowing circle. This is kinda tedious if your allies does not know the mechanics, so make sure to communicate if you think that they don't know it yet. The shapeshifter curse or the sheep mode can only be casted when you are in that red circle, so make sure you go and save your teammates, but do not touch the glowing red circle as it will stun you together with that person. There is also another mechanic by Duke Magna wherein he will automatically root a target, and when this happens you need to interact with the altar that are around the circle. You basically rinse and repeat this, and Duke Magna is not that tanky, so you will be able to burst him down easily. Next, in the harder dungeons, we have Cursed Wasteland or Shaikal. For Shaikal, make sure to avoid these yellow things up until the end of the dungeon. What you do is you basically lure every mob in the map and kill them as efficiently as possible at the same time. Make sure to pay attention to your positioning because some mobs will push you off to the yellow and stun you and will be able to kill you. So when you arrive at the boss room, what you need to understand is you should be playing at the opposite side of your tank, because the one who is aggroing the boss is important. There are specific doorways that you will be activating for your allies and for yourself, and this will be activated when Shaikal prompts this. When Shaikal prompts this, make sure to open the doors for your tank to be able to run to the other side. Note that this is not tankable, so make sure that you will save your allies by opening the doors. If you get marked red, make sure that you run behind, because this will summon a black hole that will disrupt your movement and will pull you into the yellow crosshairs. If you see a lot of these violet things, make sure to dodge it. The main mechanic of Shaikal is this violet breath. Shaikal will follow the direction of the last aggroed player, which is usually the tank. So make sure that the tank will run in the inner circle of Shaikal, not the outer circle, because it will be hard for him to outrun it. That means that the players or the other players at the other side should open the door for him. You can open the door by interacting at this horn-like figure at the end of the light race. Also, make sure that when you open the light race, you remember where it's placed, because when the light race summon back, it will stun you if you are in that pathway. Just basically rinse and repeat this and you will be able to kill Shaikal. Lastly, it's Temple of Slaughter or Chimaerus, one of the hardest, if not the hardest dungeon in all of Throne and Liberty as of posting this video. First is you skip all the mobs if not needed. Make sure you just kill the needed mobs. You activate all these water pumps that will allow you to just progress to the next level, and then you fly here. Basic stuff. What you do is you choose one that will fit this role, and that role player will lure all the mobs ahead of you. Once it's done, the role player will lure all the mobs while you pass directly to the mini-boss. When you're done killing the mini-boss, you will go inside the Chimaerus room, and then you must jump at the water so as to remove the aggro of all the monsters. Do note that in Throne and Liberty, most of the monsters will remove their aggro on you if you run towards water. Now this is where it gets hard. When these lunge pythons are summoned, at least 2 of your party members should start flying. When they activate their grapples, they will be launched up into the air where they are able to grapple once again. And in the middle of this chandelier-like thing, they will be seeing something that they can interact with. Once they are done interacting with that certain something above the chandelier, all of the players below, 4 of the players below that are left, should pull their chains so as to remove all the poison that Chimaerus will have. Note that this is not tankable at all, because Chimaerus will not stop poisoning you until Chimaerus will be showered with water. And that's the only way that you can do that. One more thing that you need to remember is if you are a ranged character, you will need to play behind your tank, because if you are chosen with this green mark, Chimaerus will be throwing 2 fireballs at you. First a poison fireball and another fireball at you. This can only be blocked by a tank skill or an SNS skill, and if you are not directly behind your tank, you will be killed. You will basically need to rinse and repeat this and hope that you will not get bugged out when you grapple above. And there you have it, all of the co-op dungeons and their very summarized and very simplified versions on how to understand them. For sure, there are a lot of niches and other techniques that you will be able to approach all of these dungeons, but this video just tells you the entire thing and all that you need to do in order for you to be useful and for you to not get kicked when you are in random party matchmaking. If you still don't understand the importance of playing in these co-op dungeons, I will be making another video which tells you exactly all of the secrets and all that you need to know about co-op dungeons, their drops, how to maximize them, salvation, crafting, and everything that circles around co-op dungeons. If you are still watching up until this point, thank you so much for supporting my first ever video. I am very amazed at the feedback that you gave me, and I hope that you enjoyed this other video that I made. I'm a fairly new channel, so I really appreciate all of you. If you want to follow along my journey, please like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll be making more simplified videos for you and more content for Throne and Liberty. If you have any questions or any suggestions for future video or anything that you want us to discuss together, please don't hesitate to comment down below. Again, thank you so much and see you at the next video. Peace.